Number 10 of this is have your child or your student role play after his mind is ready to tell his body that how I'm going to look when I'm bullied. I'll say that again. You want the kid to be ready over here to role play how he's going to genuinely speak with confidence and smile at the bully to show you're not getting to me and I'm going to stand up to you, but not with force, because it's not about fists and it's not about external power, it's about internal power. True power is someone who's in control of himself. He's not bent out of shape, because you can't ever be bent out of shape. You can't ever be traumatized. You can experience it, but it's only ever experienced in the mind. And I don't make that an illusion. It's not an illusion. You experienced it. But you can only re-experience it in your memory if you recreate it. And you can only recreate it in thought. Thought is everything. So help a child to recognize he never has to believe he's a victim. He's never a victim. And the irony is we never were victims. We're going to talk about, great personalities. We've mentioned a little bit. We're going to go over, great personalities lived inside out. They did not live outside in. They fell into the trap once in a while, maybe more than once in a while, but they always pick themselves up. And that's the real measure of someone who's successful. It's not how much money we make. It's not how big our home is. It's not how popular we are, how many people are on our Facebook and our Twitter accounts. It's always what we say to ourselves about life, ourselves, our parents, our children, our husbands, our wives. Our reality is created by our thought and nothing else. So that's real Kvishas HaYetzer said, that's really conquering the mind. That's what the Yetzer is really referring to. The internal voice that says, I'm no good. What other people say about how bad I am is true. No, I've got to do tshuva for my mistakes and go weiter and just treat every Aveira as Ava. It happened. It's history. It's gone. It's finissimo. Never. It's nito. It's not here anymore. Okay, number 11. Oh, sorry, still number 10, sorry. 13.10. 13.6. But we're number 10 of number 6. Go figure. Okay, it's in your notes, because you get a handout with the DVD. Or if not, you can request it from the website and they'll send you a PDF. So for example, are you up to practicing with me saying to the bully, cool, that's what you think, but that's not what I think. And I guess what I think matters more to me. Cool, that's your opinion. It's not my opinion. I've got my own opinion about me. And whatever you say doesn't have to change my opinion of who I am, because that's what counts the most in my life. So you're role modeling almost for the bully how the mind really works, and that he can't get inside your mind. You're just spelling it out. If the student or child is not ready to draw upon his inner resilience, which is always there, the bulletproof vest is never off, it's always there, then just show empathy and understanding. If he's not ready to go to reminding himself what those metaphors are and the power of those metaphors, what the lessons are of those metaphors, how I really have it inside of me, he may not be ready. And so then just empathize, don't pity. Don't pity. Because if you pity, you're kind of helping him tell himself, I am a victim. I'm being hurt and traumatized. I can't sleep at nights. And empathize, understand, don't help him be the victim. The reason you should not pity your child is because he isn't a victim. He's just not. Otherwise, he will think it was a big mistake he opened up to you in the first place. So just empathize. 13.7. What if the rapport is not so good and your child is not opening up about him being bullied? So if your kid is not sharing with you what's really going on in school, but you see him coming home with a torn shirt, torn jacket, torn pocket, bruised, or keeps faking that he's not feeling well, or he's got a stomachache, he doesn't want to go to school, doesn't want to go on the bus, or if more than that, you've seen threatening emails or texts. So you know that these are clear simonim, signs that something's wrong. If he's not opening up to you, then number one, sit him down and speak very calmly but real firm, because I care. This is, and you're not threatening. There's no threatening in your tone. There's a non-threatening voice, and you say, look, it's time for you to tell me what's going on. I'm on your time. I'll wait here, but I'm not letting go on this. You have to tell me. You need 10 minutes, you need 20 minutes, that's fine. We'll revisit in 20 minutes. But there's no way you can't not tell me, because I love and care for you enough not to let this go. You want to speak about it now? You need 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Okay, 30 minutes, that's it. Then we're going to talk about it. And you revisit, you make it absolutely clear that there's no negotiation. You have to have him share with you what's going on. You didn't have such great rapport, but it's clear something's wrong. Torn clothes, comes home with a cut, a bruise, something's happening. If you've got clear evidence with emails or texts, just sit them down without panic, without anxiety, non-threatening, and you can also make it absolutely clear that whatever he says stays between mum and dad and him, and until we've come up with a plan that he agrees to, you're not going to do anything without his consent, without his full understanding and cooperation. And by helping him understand that, you're giving him power. You're giving him power to feel powerful in this equation and not powerless, not helpless. You're telling him that we're partners and I'm your parent and I can't let this go. Because I love you, I can't let this go. Because I love you, you have to share what's going on. You have to tell us what's going on so we can help you. Number 14, action plan. So the next step is really the following. You want to plan something together. So you remind him, we've got really two goals. Goal number one is you want the bully-proof vest to be worn inside his mind all the time, so the bullets can't penetrate. That's where the bullets are really being fired. And if you've got a bulletproof mind, that's a cute line. I just came up with it just now. I prefer that to the vest, in fact. But anyway, I've used it so much till now, I'm stuck with it. But you want to bully-proof the mind of the child so that the kid realizes, hey, those bullets are not going to get to me. So that's the real resilience. We've talked about that a lot. So that will be goal number one. Goal number two over here is where he has been bullied or he hasn't opened up and you found out and now he's telling you the truth, but you made a deal that you're not going to do anything without his cooperation. You need to come up with an action plan. So what are we going to do in number two? So number two is we've got a number of options. We can talk directly to the bully. We can talk to his parents. We can talk to the teacher or to the principal or all four. But we can't not do nothing unless, dear son, daughter, you want us to focus on goal number one, which is building you inside out. So that you know that no matter how much you crumple that $20 bill, it's still $20. It never loses its value. No matter how much that skittle, that pin is knocked by the bowl, it just doesn't go down because it's strong. Or you know that you're a Rolls Royce, and no matter how many scratches there are, and whatever people say, you're a 67 Chevy, you know you're a Rolls Royce. So those, if they're ready to go there, then that's what you'll do. But if they're not, then we've got to go to plan B. And plan B is we've got to take action. Speak to the bully, speak to the teacher, speak to the parents of the bully, speak to the principal, or all four. But what's not acceptable is doing nothing, because you're coming home beat up, torn clothes, knapsack torn apart, homework sheets torn, whatever the telltale signs are, or friends telling you, wherever you're getting that information, you're sitting down with your kid, this can't continue. Because we love you, we have to talk about it and come up with an action plan. But always hit the core, always go for that core, because children know the truth. We all know the truth. Nikarim divrei emes. It's a Gemara in Saita Daf Yud Aleph, I believe, by the story of Shimshon. Nikarim divrei emes. Words which are really true are obvious. They are recognizable. When kids are told, look, there's two ways to deal with everything. There's an inside-out way and there's an outside-in way. And sometimes we've got to do both. But we can't completely ignore the inside-out Because if we do, we're going to always be dealing with symptoms and never the cause. The cause is always what we're thinking. That is the cause of what we feel. That's the cause of our reality. We create our reality all the time. So we will revisit that with the kid, with our metaphors. And there's a few others we're going to touch upon at the end of this presentation. But there's no option to do nothing. Not when you know the kid is being bullied and things are happening and it's finally come out. So that's 14. 14.1. If you're going to reinforce the internal bully-proof vest, bully-proof mind, then revisit those metaphors with all their implications. Meaning, what's the implication if you are not a $20 bill, you're a $1 trillion bill? So it's, let's say it's worth $1 trillion. That means you can go into any store and up to, but not more than $1 trillion. It's a lot of money. You can buy anything you want. That's how much you're worth. And someone spills a stain on you and calls you an idiot, you good for nothing, tramples on you, screams at you, insults you, scrumples you up, spits on you. How much is this $1 trillion note worth now? And the answer is $1 trillion. So keep revisiting, get the kid to talk about, what does that mean? What does that imply? Oh, that implies that whatever someone says to me doesn't change me. And the me is not my body. The me is not my clothes. If he tears my clothes, he's torn my clothes, the clothes that belong to me, but that's not me. It's something outside of me. I happen to wear it very close to the me, but it's only because it's close to my body, and that's still not me. The real me is my mind. So that's where you want the kid talking again and again about what are the implications of understanding these metaphors. So number 14.2. Don't bully your child into a script of action. Meaning, we're talking about not bullying, and we're talking about the kid who has now, yes, been bullied, and it's come to the surface. Don't bully them into we need rapport. We need to build the kid from the inside out. We can't shout and cajole and force. We've got to talk it through, and if the kid's not up to it, to give him 20 minutes to a break, and we'll revisit it. If he refuses to talk more, I said, okay, but you're not going back to school. He might be happy about that, but you're not going back to school until we've resolved this. Because if it's dangerous for you at any level, we've got to address this as completely as possible. And the options are either you work on inside out, which we should anyway, but also we've got to take action. We've got to speak to the principal or the teacher or both, and the bully, or have the teacher speak to the class without mentioning any names about the subject, or get iHeart to come into the class, who've got practitioners in England, in America, and give the course on this inner resilience, of which part of that course is how to deal with bullying and bad behavior. So there are options, and it might even be Latoelis, very much to the benefit of the whole school, that this one bullying incident brings about you bringing in an iHeart practitioner, someone who's got the training, who in 10 sessions with a classroom over a period of 10 weeks or so, and it's only like 30, 40 minutes a session, will help the kids in the classroom start recognizing where reality really exists. It's all inside out. And if that's really true, oh my gosh, that means I do not have to be sucked into the lure of internet, of social media, of thinking that my life is all about movies and girls and instead, I can be in control. I don't have to smoke. I don't have to drink to escape what I think is what I want to escape from. And this is there are prisoners across America and Europe who are getting these courses, who in the space of a matter of a few weeks start to recognize that they are liberated. Their body is in prison, their mind is no longer in prison. And they will actually even say, the wardens really need this course. So it's a very, very powerful way to help bring into your school, if your own son or daughter doesn't want to cooperate, so say, okay, look, we're going to have to recommend to the principal that something has to be brought into the school to stop the bullying. And so maybe that's one way to make something a tremendous blessing out of what otherwise would seem to be traumatic, tragedy, terrible. Okay, so that's 14.2. Don't bully your kid into a script of action that he's not ready for. And if he's ready, great. So the goal of a plan is not to punish the bully necessarily, or stop the bullying from ever happening again. Really? Well, you see, you're never going to stop until Mashiach comes. You're never going to stop people bullying people. It happens. The Torah warns against it, but it still happens. So what you do want to address is how will you prepare children, young adolescents, for the real world? That there will be times in their life they're going to get pushed around. It might be even family members, it might be their own kids, it might be their parents-in-law. It can come from anywhere. We need to build the children inside out while they're young. And it's never too late, because we're always one thought away from changing what we think. So the goal really is to help our children understand the true mechanics of thought. That the whole world exists in my mind. And therefore, it's my mind that has to deal with change, not the world. Because the world is not going to change. If I run away from this bully, guess what? There'll be another one. If I run away from this divorce, there might still be another really rotten marriage waiting for me, because I'm the still same person going into the second marriage with all the stuff that I haven't addressed, because I'm running away from the stuff I don't like. And if I don't learn financial principles, then when I file for bankruptcy and I don't learn the lessons that I'm supposed to take with me, guess what? I'll make the same mistakes, Rahman al-Islam, a second time, a third time. So it's all about, who am I taking with me into the next relationship, the next career, the next marriage? I've got to change me. And the more I get focused on changing you, I'm just wasting my life away. It's never too late, but I'm wasting the energy. The tick-tock of my life is ticking away, but the bottom line is, the true mechanics of life take place over here. And that's what we want our children to understand, and that's the real goal of addressing bullying. Number 15, maintenance. What does that mean? Keep in touch with your kids' progress. Keep the rapport going, and meanwhile, maintain the happy home. When we make mistakes, we apologize, bounce back, get on with life. Maintain the happy home, maintain friends. Do you remember, these are buffers. Friends are big buffers to bullying. It's really hard for a bully to get away with bullying someone who's got lots of friends who are going to stand up for him. So maintain friendships, friends coming to the home, your son, daughter having play dates, make sure they're safe play dates. I'm not going to talk about that now, but we've covered it in Midas. Make sure as much as you can that they're part of Pirchei and Shabbos programs, so that they have friends. Friends are a massive way to help children not be candidates for being bullied. Another part of this is possibly celebrate a child's milestone. So for example, if your son learns Mishnayos with daddy, or with a private Rebbe, and you finish a Masechta, or a Seder of Mishnayos, or a Masechta of Gemara, or a Sefer of Chumash or Nach, make a siyum and invite some friends. Invite the class if necessary, and invite the bully. Invite the Rav of the shul to give a few words about the milestone of completing a Masechta, or an entire Chumash, or the entire Chumash, or a Masechta of Mishnayos, or a whole Seder of Mishnayos, a Masechta of Gemara, and have that Rav say a few kind words about the kid. And you can set this up so the bully realizes, who am I starting up with? It may not be worth it. And have your kid give out a small little go-home present to all the kids, and maybe a little bit extra portion to the bully. But the point being is that you want the bully to understand this kid has a life, and his life is celebrated. And so the bully himself is going to have a hard time convincing himself when he says you're a loser. Well, not really. You have no friends. Well, not quite. You've got a whole community backing him up. You've got no brains. Well, you finished the Masechta. I'm not saying the bully can't find something else to bully him about, but it's going to make him pick up that this is not a good target. The most important piece I want to really bring out about maintenance is that handling bullying shouldn't be a reaction to the bullying. Removing the cancer should not really be the solution. It really shouldn't. What should be the solution, because it's addressing the cause, is what causes this in the first place, and remove that. So that's what we're really talking about. We're talking about the teacher in the classroom creating a community amongst the kids where over a number of sessions we talk about bullying, or best of all bring in an iHeart practitioner who's certified in helping kids become a community in the classroom and understanding what it means to live inside out, so that I become much more aware that not if, but when I make a mistake and shout and get angry or curse or bully or get bullied, my mind will remember much quicker how to recover, because my emotion of feeling intimidated or bullied or hurt or screamed at is a memory in a thought that I can recognize. Oh my gosh, it's a thought. And I don't have to keep the same thought going over again and again. I'm bullied, I'm a victim, I'm a target, I'm hated, no friends, I'm lonely, I can't make friends, no one likes me. The more I keep adding on these thoughts, the more I'm bringing myself down till I get sad or depressed, and then I want tranquilizers to get me to sleep at night, or to antidepressants, and before you know it, I'm letting the world crush me. But that's not how reality works. There's no world crushing me. Olam Hazeh is a dimyon. Olam Hazeh is Olam HaSheker. It's an illusion. What's not an illusion and what's not a dimyon and what's reality is that we live inside out all the time. So when kids get that, they are incredibly resilient. They'll start talking about how this has changed them, and that they look at bullies almost with, I feel bad for the guy. He's got to demonstrate power externally like that. What a pity, he's like so unenlightened. You can have prisoners who are literally concerned that the wardens really need this course because they literally live in prison all day, and when they go home at night, they're like recovering by abusing their spouses and kids or whatever. But then they're such unhappy people all day in prison that they need this. The prisoners themselves are saying that. That's amazing. There's one interview with a kid who's a heroin addict, and he said very openly, the only thing that was missing in my entire life, and my parents and I were all waiting, is a death certificate. That's all that's missing. He said, as far as I was concerned, I've already been through 13 rehabs and not cured. It was so obvious from me relapsing, falling every time, that it was only a matter of time before I injected an overdose that would take my life. So the only thing missing in my entire life was the signature on a death certificate. My family agreed until he discovered that he did not have an addiction problem. He had a thinking problem. It's what I'm thinking, that this drug is going to get me out of my misery. This drink will get me out of my misery. Doing this addiction, going to these gentlemen's clubs is going to get me out of my misery. No, it never works that way. It actually deepens it, because my mind is falling into that trap more and more and more until I don't realize, hey, you know what? It's all taking place over here. So you got some very powerful ways to help children see, oh my gosh, you got this heroin addict who's talking about the only thing missing in his life was his death certificate, and then he turned himself around? Really? And how did he do it? Over here. You got this Terry Rubenstein writing about her life on antidepressants and control drugs to get out of the pain that she was going through in her life, and she snapped out of it when she recognized, I live over here. I don't, nowhere else. And it's so ridiculously simple. It's exactly as we said. How's the air? What air? And you take to a fish in the water. How's the water? What water? You see, it's everywhere. We live in thought more than we do the fish in water. More than we breathe air, we live in thought all the time. And so it's so obvious that we don't pay attention to how thought really works. That's what we're really looking to build in our children. And that's the true maintenance that we want to bring into the classroom. We want to bring into the classroom that instead of dealing with the cancer at stage 3 or stage 4, Rahman Aslan, hey, let's choose a lifestyle up front where the type of foods we eat and the quantities and the health and the exercise makes us close to an impossible candidate for heart disease. I mean, and there are books on this subject. It's virtually impossible to get a heart disease or heart attack where a person is eating a very healthy water-based diet, because his cholesterol or bad cholesterol, the plaque that's going to form along the walls of his capillaries and his veins, it just ain't going to happen because he exercises, he eats healthy. It's almost literally, it's not only impossible, but it goes beyond that. Heart disease is reversible because they've changed their mindset about lifestyle, because it all starts up here. And when they make a conscious decision to eat healthy and exercise, they have not chosen to hope for a healthy life. They have given up hope and replaced it with expectation. They expect to live long and healthy lives. And that's all starts over here. So what we want to do is bring into the classroom the teachers helping the kids become a community between themselves where they're supporting each other, and it becomes 100% bystanders, because there's no bullying. And if there is, hey, there's 99% of us who are going to say, no, we don't do that in this school. We don't do that in this class. We don't do this in this community. That's not part of the Torah lifestyle. Don't do it. Don't go there. And the bully will realize, I'm not a bully. I chose in that moment to be unkind. That doesn't make me a bully. Labels are for jars, they're not for people. So that almost like makes all that I've said like fall away, that we're not talking about bullies and targets and bystanders. That's why I try to bring out that once we've got this new mindset, so to speak, about living inside out, we can revisit the profile of the bully and the target and the bystanders and realize, hey, they've got two possible directions they can both go, each of them go in. Each of them can go in. I can be a bully, or I can do teshuvah. I can be a target and think I'm a victim and traumatized, or I can notice, hey, 1 second, it's only taking place over here. So I can choose that the next thought will not be a repetition of the old. I'm bullied. I'm a target. I'm victimized. I'm traumatized. I'm alone. No one understands me. I go through so much pain and no one knows I'm going through this. Those are choices I'm making up here. And once I cup, my feelings are my thoughts. And I don't like those feelings. I don't like those thoughts. Hey, all I have to do is ignore those thoughts. It sounds simple because it is. It has to be experienced in order for it to click and penetrate, but it's still reality. Okay, so that's really the goal of the teacher, to create a tzibur. That's the word for community in Lashon HaKodesh. And as you know, tzibur is made up of 3 letters, Tzadik Beis Resh, in its shorish, in its root, and Tzadik stands for Tzadik, righteous, Beis stands for Beinani, middle type of a guy, average guy, and Resh stands for a Rasha, Rishoyim. So Tzibur is actually made up of every part of the community, every person, because the tzaddik is someone who is in control of his mind, and the Beinani is sometimes in control, sometimes not, and the Rasha is out of control. But that doesn't stop the Rasha from one thought later changing his mind and doing teshuvah. He could be a Rasha Gamor, one moment later, tzaddik Gamor, and it's real. It's real. In Hashem's eyes, it's real. In halacha, it's real. Mekudeshes. So the teacher has an enormous responsibility, an opportunity to build in his classroom community. We as parents have enormous opportunity to build in our homes immunity and liberation by helping our children recognize that life takes place over here, and you've always got Hashem with you, powering your mind. You're always wearing a bulletproof vest over your brain. Okay, so we'll get to number 16, which is a summary of everything, and then number 17 is going to be probably the most important part of the whole presentation, which is the practical takeaway of the entire presentation. It'll only take a few minutes.